Last week I sailed across the Gulf of Reinke with my crew Karl, and by now he's back on his boat Santana in Italy, and I'm back to solo sailing. I took out Karl for my first little solo spin in a while, and it was only a little 7 nautical mile hop from Bahia La Entrega to a little bay called Riscalillo. But it was a good test to see whether I still had it in me, and it felt really good to see that I was in sync with my boat, and it was a great feeling to drop anchor in such a beautiful bay. However, although I did feel pretty confident sailing Karl, something felt different this time. I have another 1,200 nautical miles to go until I reach Guaymas, which is where I want to leave Karl for the hurricane season, and I don't think I want to do it solo. And that's definitely a new feeling for me. Usually, when I've had crew for a while, I feel quite liberated to be by myself again. You know, it's like gasping for air after you've been free diving. Yes, it's mesmerizing and beautiful when you're down there, but you do need to surface and take a deep breath to be able to continue. And that's usually how it feels like for me when I have crew. But this time, it felt a little different, and I felt that I could have stayed submerged for a little longer. Yeah. When I first set out on this journey, my heart was set on doing it solo. It wasn't out of necessity. It was a clear choice. I wanted to test my capabilities and my limitations, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do, where I wanted to do. I guess you can say it was quite the ego trip. I think there was one person once writing a blog post about me, and he called it the monumental ego trip of Nika Schweiger. And I guess, fair enough, looking back, I think he probably wasn't too far off the truth. I've been in this cute little bay called Riscalillo, which is part of the Huatulco National Park. It's a tiny little bay just next to Bahia San Agustin. When I first came here, I didn't actually think there was a lot of room, but now we're 3 boats in this bay. It's Karl and then my 2 friends, Vinny and Dean. They're both single-handed sailors as well. And it's a pretty little nook here. There's a couple of palapas on the beach, and it's actually surprisingly protected, at least for the conditions that we're having right now. There's a beautiful reef that dries out at low tide, and today we're just gonna go on a tiny little hike because I feel like I want to stretch my legs. It's just been mainly walking the beaches and swimming lately, so I think Boga would very much appreciate a longer hike. So I'm just gonna go over the ridge to the next bay, which is Bahia San Agustin, and see what we can find there. As usual, we choose the best time for hiking, high noon. It's known to be the healthiest time for hiking because the sun is nice and warm.
I said I think we can do, but I'm not so sure anymore. That's it. Good girl.
Good girl, come. Come, girl.
Good girl.
Good girl.
Hey. Bobita. Aquí. That's it. How much fun was that? There's a tiny challenge.
That was a big challenge. I wasn't expecting that, but that was fun.
Made it! Yay! See?
Awesome, good job. Good job, brother. That calls for a beer. Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed we made that.
Yeah, that was good.
Especially with a dog.
Yeah. You did good.
She did, Boga did super well. She's a little goat.
Riscalillo, I met up with 2 other solo sailors, Vinny and Dean, and we've had some great chats about what it's like to cruise solo, what it's like to sail single-handedly, and they both told me that they're not doing this out of choice, but because, you know, the right person hasn't come along yet to share it with.
Well, you know, I got to the point where I just wanted to leave, and I had bought a boat, and I decided to come down here, and I planned for about 4 years, and I had plans to be with my partner at the time, and she came to Ensenada with me and sailed in Mexico for 4 months last year, and a year ago, almost 6 months ago today, she had to go back due to visas, so I ended up being a solo sailor or a single sailor, and I've been doing that now for just slightly over a year.
But that means when you bought your boat, you were in a relationship, so you did not plan to be solo on your boat.
No.
But then you were thrown into being solo along the way.
Yes.
And then you had to groove into it.
Yes.
I would rather be with someone to share, seeing the whales, seeing the turtles, seeing everything, you know, like something that you want to share. And
so you're not solo by choice, basically, but you wanted this lifestyle, so you decided to go, although you didn't have a partner to do it.
If I had to wait for someone, then I would still be naked ground. So I rather, you know, do it, live my dream, and if somebody comes along, that's perfect. If not, then I'm still living my dream.
Usually when someone says this to me, I nod and I go like, yeah, you know, I understand. You know, it's nice to share the sunsets. It's nice to go on a hike together, and, you know, an extra couple of hands that help is beautiful, but for a while, right? And then I'd like to have my solitude back and my autonomy. And I noticed that this time when they were telling me their story, I didn't right away go to this thought. We also talked about what we really enjoy about cruising solo, and I think one thing we could absolutely agree on was the autonomy part. That you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. So what else do you think would be like one thing that we could agree or not agree on that would be a pro for solo sailing?
A pro for solo sailing, positive. Yeah, so, well, you're the only one making the decision.
I was going to suggest that one, but I'm glad you brought that one up.
Yeah. You don't have to say, oh, what do you want to do now?
Right.
No, you know what? I don't have to ask anyone. You just do it.
You just do it. When do you want to go, you go. We don't have somebody going, we need to go now because I don't like it here.
I don't like snorkeling. I don't want like this. The water is too murky. Okay, well...
That doesn't sound so positive, but...
Yeah, I love the same. I get up, you know, make my coffee, do a little tidying up. And get up my routine is good, and nobody's there to tell me I shouldn't do it this way or that way.
We are doing things, like I love to get up, like you're saying, making myself coffee, go in the cockpit, read the news, you know, or stuff like that, relax. And sometimes, like I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not ready to go until 9. Like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I'm okay
I
because
feel very much like that.
Yeah.
3 hours. Like,
That's my wake up time.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. Give me that space, you know, give me that
Space.
time and
Yeah.
and then I can start doing shit.
And I guess you can have, or you can manage to have this autonomy also when you are cruising with crew or with a partner. It's always been something that's been difficult for me in the past, and I would love to hear any one of you that is sailing with crew or as a couple, and you figured out a perfect balance between, you know, being together and still having your own space on a boat that is limited in space, and you're with each other 24/7. I do believe it's possible, but I do think for me, I would need to have the possibility to have my individual space and time without feeling guilty. And I'm 100% sure there's a way, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. Meeting up with Vinny and Dean during this time of transition towards solo sailing again has been a really special treat, especially because I'm not really feeling it this time. And it was just good to share our experiences of the great things that come with solo sailing and the things that are maybe less great. And another thing that we agreed upon that is a bit more on the funny side is that what is the absolute worst of cruising solo is that you have to do the bloody dishes all the time by yourself. Right? Well, it could be worse, I guess. Well, as you can tell, there's plenty of thoughts running through my head and a couple of emotions turning around within my soul. And I'm going to take some time to contemplate all of them on my next little voyage to Bahia Ampel, and then on my 200 nautical mile solo passage to Acapulco. I'm pretty sure I'll have some free time on that leg, but more about that next time.